Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Now, quite a long time ago, I made a video explaining everything you need to know about Game Pass. And when I say a long time ago, I mean pre-Bethesda acquisition. Yes, Bethesda, not Activision. The first big one. Um, Now in the video, I explained everything that you needed to know, the difference between all the different subscriptions, and that info is now outdated. But some people really found that video useful, so I thought, you know what, let's just do this again. Now, of course, Microsoft recently announced changes to its subscription plans, combined with a price increase. Now, I'm not going to go into the price increase. I'm sure everyone loves it. Everyone loves to pay more. Um, yeah, it's just what it is. However, with this price increase, we also got something of a new subscription, and one of the subscriptions is going to go away. And when you see all this information in one piece of text, it's kind of confusing. But I've been looking at it. I've been able to pin everything down, and let's just go right into it. As far as Game Pass Ultimate goes, it also stays the same, but again, the price is going up. Now, Game Pass Ultimate is, like I said, still the same. It's your Xbox Live Access like you have with Core. It's your console Game Pass with over 100 games. It's your PC Game Pass with over 100 games. It's also EA Access, or EA Play as they call it now. You get your cloud services, you get your perks, and your day one games. And this is the important factor for a lot of people. The day one games for everything Microsoft, which now of course includes Call of Duty, which is normally one of the best selling games. So this first Call of Duty going to Game Pass day one is going to be very interesting, and also definitely the catalyst for this change. Um, Whether Microsoft is going to admit that or not, it definitely is. Now, the new sub, it's basically what's gonna replace the console Game Pass, and it's slightly more expensive than what console Game Pass on its own was, but it's also quite more interesting, and it's something that a lot of people expected from console Game Pass, but hasn't really been the case. So what that Game Pass is now the hundreds of games that you have on console and online multiplayer. And in the old system, the online multiplayer was not included in Game Pass, which is why pretty much anyone who wants to play online and wants to have Game Pass was going to go with Ultimate, because paying for core and console Game Pass was just such a small difference that it made no sense not to go for Ultimate. It would be the much easier option. But now, the middle option is actually something viable because you don't need core separately anymore. So, what is changing is normal console Game Pass now is also going to include online multiplayer. Kind of going to make core a little bit more redundant, except for people who really do not care about Game Pass, but considering the way Xbox is marketing everything, not a lot of people are going to fall into the category, I believe at least. But yeah, that's the interesting thing with what they're now gonna call Game Pass Standard. So, one thing that you have with Game Pass Standard is no day one releases. And this is where things are gonna get just a little bit different and for now unclear, but I think it's gonna be clear with time. With Game Pass Ultimate, you're gonna have your day one releases. Like we had Starfield last year. Um, Something's coming out this year that a lot of people made a deal about. You're going to have your Fable, State of Decay 3. Um, Basically, everything first party from Xbox is going to be in day one, including Call of Duty. Now, That is not happening with Game Pass Standard. They're specifically mentioning day one releases for Ultimate, so that's still going to be a perk regardless of, everything they're saying. They've been promising this for Game Pass, so they really cannot back out of this because that would just be a disaster. So now they just made it a option on the most premium side of Game Pass. Uh, you can think about it what you want. I'm sure a lot of people will find that scummy. Perhaps it even is, but that is the way things are right now. So you have Game Pass Core. Basically, just you're able to play online. You get a small library of games you can play from, but yeah, that's it. You have Standard, which is all of the formerly mentioned in Game Pass Core. You get to play online, and instead of a small library, you get a library of hundreds of games. And now with Ultimate, you'll have PC Game Pass, your standard Game Pass, your multiplayer, your EA Play, and day one games. Now, the one thing we do not know is obviously one of the selling points for Game Pass has been that eventually Microsoft games are going to go in anyway. Like it, for instance, it took quite a long time for Minecraft to be in it, or the first State of Decay to be in it, or other old games. Now that Activision is part of Microsoft, we keep hearing that they're planning on bringing Activision titles into the service, but it's taken time. And I'm guessing this is going to be the case with new releases for Game Pass Standard as well. However, this is not confirmed. So, what's probably going to happen, my guess at least, is when it's going to come to, for instance, Call of Duty, it is going to go into Game Pass, but the next Call of Duty is going to go into Game Pass when one after is on the horizon. That's what I'm thinking at least. So, uh, yeah, let's say we're getting a Black Ops 5 in the future. Black Ops 5 is not going to go in until Modern Warfare 4 is announced and released, whichever one, whichever they're going to call it, but just examples. So I think that's going to be the case. You could say the same for Elder Scrolls 6. Elder Scrolls 6 is going to release. It's probably going to take a year before it goes into Game Pass Standard. That is what I'm thinking, at least. Do not take my word for it. That's just when I look at the way Microsoft operates, that is what I think they're going to do. Whether that's true, we don't know. Time's going to tell. But for now, at least one thing we do know, yeah, of course, Standard Ultimate. Ultimate is still the same as it always was. Core is still the same as it always was, just the price is going up. And the console version of Game Pass is now replaced with Standard, at least for new members, and it's going to change for everyone in September. And Standard is pretty much the same as it always was for Console Game Pass, but now with the added bonus of being able to play online without needing your core subscription. Easy, right? So, uh, like I said, I didn't want to explain this just a little bit better. I hope I did. If not, just let me know in the comments and I'll probably just try again. Really, honestly, I mean it. In the meantime, while you are down there, if you did find this helpful, I would ask what you think of the price increase, but everyone hates it. Obviously, no one wants to pay more. So instead of doing that, instead of going into the negative, why don't you just drop me a game that you played in Game Pass that you probably never would have played otherwise and absolutely loved? Doesn't have to be in the service now. I just want to see titles and see your stories. So, thank you for watching, and until next time. Goodbye.